are the first. The first to see the gods. The first to tame their beasts. The first to guard the soul from evil. We conquered this land and built an empire.
All right, everybody, welcome back to E3 2017.
What day are we on, or is this? I know
This
it's
is
part
the
three, but
part
this is
3.
Are we on day 3?
We're not doing days. We're doing parts here, John. We're doing parts.
What day? What day is this?
We're over the hump.
What year is it?
I know. It seems like it's been 4,000 years since we started podcasting about E3. Everybody,
I just want to go home. No, I'm joking.
nobody leaves. Nobody leaves until it's over. It's not over until I say it's over. I've altered the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further. No, we're over the hump. We're into the back stretch. We've got 4 conferences, 5 if you count Devolver, down, and we've got 3 and then miscellaneous left to go.
Yeah.
So without any further dillying or dallying, because John and I want to get the fuck out of here, let's talk a little bit about Ubisoft.
Yeah.
Good old-fashioned Ubisoft.
Yep.
Ubisoft had a really interesting conference this year, I felt like.
Yeah?
So here's the thing. If I'm not mistaken, we didn't see any Tom Clancy.
No, there was no Tom
Division,
Clancy at all.
No Splinter Cell, no Rainbow Six, no DLC for Rainbow Six Siege or The Division or whatever. No Aisha Tyler.
Yeah.
This is the first time in what's been like 4 or 5 years that she hasn't been the MC for the show.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I had a whole new set of reasons that I didn't like. I don't know that I consider that a good thing or a bad thing. It's funny because I've complained about her every year. Then when she wasn't here, I was kind of like, but yeah, there's a lot of like, this is a weird one because we actually got some interesting kind of brand new craziness out of this one. At a Ubisoft that I feel like we didn't get a lot out of some of the other conferences. Some new IPs that were kind of intriguing as opposed to just sequels or remakes or like things that we already knew about.
Yeah,
right? Some actual reveals. Now the first one was actually not really a big reveal because we all knew it was coming.
Well, it was leaked.
Yeah.
It was leaked.
Well, no, but we knew that this was coming for a while now.
Yeah, but only because it was leaked. If it hadn't gotten, like, it wasn't officially announced or talked about. Matter of fact, prior to this conference, when people would ask Ubisoft and Nintendo, Ubisoft and Nintendo would say, "No, we don't know what that is."
Yeah,
but everyone's like, "It's fucking legit art." Guys, like your actual production art, like advertisement art, what that leaked? What the fuck is wrong with you?
We have no idea what that is. Stop asking us about it. I'm Yves Gilmore. This is my Yves Gilmore voice. By the way, Yves Gilmore was the guy who was heading up the show. The first thing, it was actually really interesting because he came out and he was like, "All right, that Rabbids and Mario thing, that's a thing. Hey." Miyamoto, come on out and let's talk about it. I actually think it's kind of funny because I didn't get a chance to watch the Nintendo press conference till right before we did this, and Miyamoto wasn't on that at all.
No.
Like, so this was like the only place that Miyamoto showed up in all of E3. He came out with some little blaster guns and he talked a lot about it. He had his little he has his android manservant with him. That guy that like he does a really good job of pretending to be a person. I think he's one of those Detroit replicants, you know. Fucking hate that guy. He's nothing.
He's kind of the new guy. I mean, he's the guy that's probably going to take over for Reggie when Reggie leaves.
But he's just so bland. He's like, it's like computers designed the least offensive white man ever. He's like, next up, let's talk about some rabbits. And then blah, blah. Anyway, so yeah, this was Rabbids versus Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle is the name of this. And it's real strange. This is a tactical shoot, a tactical.
It's fucking XCOM, man.
It's Mario goddamn XCOM, and I don't.
I'm excited for this, surprisingly. It's the thing I didn't know I ever wanted, but it's everything I wanted.
It's just real weird. So the story
Looks really good, though.
Is that the Rabbids have crash landed into the Mushroom Kingdom.
Yeah, they created like a washing machine time machine or something like that caused them to get sucked into an alternate dimension.
Yeah, and that happened to be Mario, the Mushroom Kingdom, and yeah. So so one thing I don't understand is that when they're running around on like the overworld, they're following like this little Roomba thing.
Yeah,
like it's just a weird design choice because it's like you see your little party of people, but then they're just following this thing that's like the cursor when you're on the battlefield. So yeah, in this demo that we saw, in this gameplay that we saw, it was Mario and then a rabbit dressed up like Peach and then a rabbit dressed up like Luigi.
There was even a moment where the rabbit dressed like Peach met actual Princess Peach and gave her all sorts of shade with her looks.
Yeah, there's a lot in this trailer where Rabbid Peach is taking selfies all the time. Like it's this kind of weird, it's just so weird. And then, they finally break out and they show the actual gameplay. And, yeah, it's fucking cover-based, tactical, turn-based shooter between your party and the Rabbids. And it's like, do what now? Like, I don't know. This is just, it's pretty crazy. You say you're really excited about
I'm actually interested in this. Yeah, it looks fun.
Yeah. I don't know. It's so strange and it's so... I think the thing that I'm a little bit concerned about is that it's so Rabbid-centric. Like, I feel like the ratio of Rabbids to Mario is like 70% Rabbids and like 30% Mario.
Okay.
Like, because the enemies all seem like they're Rabbids. Like, we didn't see any enemies in the trailer that looked like they were like Mario enemies.
Yeah.
We saw a rabbit dressed up like a chomper.
Well, there's like a rabbit dressed up like a chomper, or a rabbit dressed up like a piranha plant. I've seen some rabbit Goombas. I've seen some other rabbit type characters. It looks like some of the main ones, they look like they have face paint that's kind of done up like the Koopa Cousins.
Oh, okay.
Some of the rabbits have that kind of face paint or whatever. And I do know that like Luigi and Yoshi are in the game, so is Peach.
Yeah.
And like there are rabbits that are dressed up like them. There's a rabbit that's dressed up like Mario.
Yeah. I think it's going to be really interesting to watch these two groups interact with each other because traditionally speaking, like, Mario isn't exactly a chatterbox. And as soon as I can tell, the rabbits are just like rabbit minions.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing about it is that, it's while Mario has never taken itself seriously, they do take themselves more seriously than the Rabbit games do.
That's true. That's very true.
To kind of see this little, like, it's kind of going to be interesting to see it, like the Mario characters be kind of goofy a little bit more goofy than normal.
Well, I think that from what I can see here, it seems like the Mario characters are essentially playing the straight man in this game.
Yeah.
The Rabbits just fucking like, blah, blah. It is also a little strange to see Mario running around with a gun.
Yeah.
That, like, they've got these little hand blasters, and that seems to be the primary form of attack. There appears to be some kind of, like, jumping. There's a lot of weird, like, traversal stuff that they show in this part where it's like, you move one character up, and then you can have another character kind of pogo off of them into later sections. I mean, it looks really, like, clean and well designed.
Well, given the fact that it's a Nintendo product, I'm not surprised by that because, like with Nintendo, they don't fuck around when it comes to third party. Anymore. I mean, there was a time when they probably did the 3DO games. But now it's like they're like, no, your shit's got to be polished.
Yeah,
your shit's got to be like, what is your normal level of polish? Add about 150% more polish on top of that,
which will be really interesting because, to be honest, out of all of the genres of video games that we have, like, tactical combat shooters tend to be very involved and intricate. Like, I don't feel like it's a like, as much as like side scrolling or even first person shooter or just action games tend to be a lot more like kind of just reflex focused. This is like, making a bad decision in a game like this, in order for a game like XCOM, let's just talk about XCOM. In order for XCOM to have any gravitas, you have to have a game where if you put your people into the wrong positions, you're going to fucking lose the match, right? So it's going to be interesting to see how they handle that and how they try to cater, because if you make this game too hard for like younger audiences, which
they're not going to play it.
They're not going to play it, and if you make it too easy for people who are into, I mean, traditionally speaking, this may be a stereotype, but traditionally for me, the people that are into Fire Emblem and XCOM and that kind of game, Final Fantasy Tactics, those tend to be some hardcore, I want a challenge. I mean, like XCOM launched with like the fucking Iron Man, one life, if your party dies, they die.
Yeah.
You know, Fire Emblem has that same type of thing. So if you lower the stakes enough to make it accessible to people, does it still come off as a very good game? I can't answer that until I play it.
Regardless, I'm looking forward to it. Like I can't wait for it to come out.
Yeah. I can say that I'm also really interested in a Ubisoft game that doesn't have towers and the upgrade mechanics.
You don't know that.
The same damn thing.
You don't know that.
I do. That's true. I don't know that it doesn't have towers that Mario has to climb to unlock the map of the area. I mean, you know, when does Mario unlock the double blade stab so you can kill two guards at the same time?
When does he get double guns?
Two guns, yes, akimbo. Well, there was a thing. There were Rabbid Luigi had a fucking rocket launcher with a bullet bill on the front of it.
Yeah.
Just an RPG with a bullet bill, like
yeah. So it looked like in some of the stuff that I was seeing, like Luigi's going to be more of a sniper character.
I think what I was watching, one of the things, because I was going to tell people right now that like we're dealing with overview. I didn't have time to watch the 6,000 hours and all the gameplay demos and all that stuff, but I did catch one part where they were mentioning. I think it was on the Nintendo Treehouse stream. Nintendo going. They said that Luigi is that Rabbid Luigi is a mage, and is more support and long range.
But like actual Luigi though actually has like a sniper rifle looking thing.
Oh, it's his ghost sucker.
Yeah,
it's the vacuum from Luigi's.
But
Mansion.
but it looks like it looks like it's more of a sniper rifle.
It's
so
longer, yeah.
So it looks like he's also a long range type character.
I don't know. It's a weird fucking thing. I can honestly say that like I'm not exactly like, oh my god, give it to me. I need it in my hands right now because I don't have as much of I don't have a big affinity for the Rabbids, and I'm real hit or miss with Mario because he's just fucking in everything these days.
I'm just excited to see somebody trying something new.
Yeah.
With Mario and with the Rabbids.
I could totally see that. Oh yeah. Also, they're going to be putting out Rabbid amiibos.
Of course.
At this point, it's like, oh, is there a thing? Then it's going to have an amiibo.
If it's on like I'm honestly waiting for the Dovahkiin amiibo from.
Well, this is what I want to know. What happens when I take Rabbid Princess Peach and put it on
Skyrim?
Switch Skyrim? Because I would love to be playing Skyrim with just a rabid like pet that's following me around, just like "Bark, bark." Like that would actually be fun to me. I think. I don't think that's going to happen.
That's not going to happen. No. But
next up, we are talking about Assassin's Creed Origins because and this was weird because Assassin's Creed is so strange. Like, I wish I could go to Ubisoft and see how they feel about Assassin's Creed because they showed a trailer. They showed one of the traditional Assassin's Creed trailers. It was a very pretty trailer with a kind of a bluesy song and then a lot of like action and stuff. And then after that, they cut to like 3 people that were sitting outside of E3 playing the game on a monitor in the daytime, and you couldn't see anything. And they were like, tune back into the stream at this time to see actual gameplay from AC Origins. And I don't know. It's a little. I guess they've done that in years past where they show the gameplay at like one of the Microsoft or Sony conference and then just kind of remind you that, hey, yeah, also we made this game. I don't know that there's anything they showed here that adds to what we've already said about.
Yeah, no, there wasn't really
about AC Origins.
I mean, they don't show any modern day like Animus stuff. It's just purely the Egyptian.
Do you think they're going to do Animus?
I don't know. I mean, I want to say that they are, but
I mean, the interface has the trappings of Animus, but then that always, I don't know. I mean, that's just what it is.
But I don't know.
Okay, fair enough. From there, we kick on over to The Crew 2.
Yeah. We knew it was coming.
Did we?
Well, we didn't know it was coming in that it was like it wasn't announced or anything, but we knew there was going to be a Crew 2.
Well, sure.
You kind of. I am surprised about the new additions to the game, though.
Yeah, because it's racing, but it's also motorcycles, dune buggies, airplanes, and boats.
Yeah.
What's interesting is that they show a trailer for it, and then one of the devs came out to kind of just talk a lot about it. It looks really nice, like the gameplay that they're showing. I mean, as long as this isn't an E3 lie, right? Where
well, it is Ubisoft.
They're running it on. Yeah, well, but I feel like last year they learned their lesson, and that everything was like, this is actual footage. It does, though, make me kind of interested. I mean, obviously, this is going to be like you're going around the country, taking part in different events. I mean, the crew. I'm trying to remember the crew. It was like you drove to an area, and then you had to find a tower to unlock. And there
the
were
races in the area, and then
the area,
yeah.
And then but you went to different places all over the United States, but it was like all squeezed together. So you would like drive to another place, but it didn't take as long as obviously it would normally take to drive. I don't know. I wonder if the people that are into racing, do you think they're going to be into air racing and boat racing and that kind of stuff as well?
As long as it's well done.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I feel like I never heard anybody like the people that I remember talking to about the crew. I feel like they went into two categories: either I liked it or I don't care about the crew and I'm not going to play it. Like I don't know that I ever had anybody who was just like, it's terrible, outside of making jokes about the towers, right?
Yeah, the fact they put fucking towers in a racing game.
Right. I don't know. This, to me, again, kind of reinforces how when we were talking about the EA conference about how I don't know that I'm super interested in pure racing games. I think that I'm more interested in a racing game that has...
Yeah, the only problem I really have is the fact that it has the tagline of kickstart your racing experience or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that was the tagline for it. I was like, no, don't fucking... No, don't use that term, kickstart.
Oh. Yeah, so that's just off limits now? Nobody
can't
use kickstart?
Unless you're starting a Kickstarter.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, it looks real pretty. They were very sparse on details of just like there seems to be some kind of story mode in there.
Yeah. Well, there was a story mode in the original crew. It was the whole thing where the reason you were racing is because you were trying to, like, your brother or something had gotten like murdered, and you were trying to get revenge, and you were moving up the ranks of the crew.
Yeah.
So
Okay. This seems a little bit, I mean, from the trailer, seems a little bit more lightweight of just like, kids, you ready? Now get out there and go race.
Yeah. Maybe it's not murdered, but it was a revenge kind of thing.
Well, I mean, yeah, it was called The Crew. There was some kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, from there, actually, you know what?
I never played it, so I don't know.
Conference may go by a lot faster than I originally thought. We got a new trailer for South Park Fractured But Whole. I feel like at this point, please stop showing me trailers and just put out the game. The only thing that I felt like was really, I mean, it was South Park. It's funny. It's doing its thing. There was two jokes that Wendy shows up with a bunch of phones and her code name is the Call Girl.
Yeah. And
then at the very end, they have Timmy as Professor X, who's like psychically talking to Eric and calling him an asshole and stuff like that. So I don't know. I mean, like, again, the first South Park Stick of Truth was fantastic, and I loved it. And I just want this game to come out. Like, you don't need to. That there is no additional hyping that can be done for me at this point.
I think it's more the trailer was there just to remind people that it's still coming out, considering how many times it got delayed.
Yeah. Do you think that they had the Nostulus Rift this year?
Probably not.
I was actually listening to somebody talk about that. I think it was in one of the pre-shows on IGN, and he was like, "Oh my god, it was fucking awful! Like it's like shooting vomit smells just like directly into your nostrils when somebody farts." I'm like, okay. After that, we had something that was a little bit more interesting, and actually, I went out and looked at a little bit more of this. This is kind of crazy. This is called Transference. And the first thing that we noticed, obviously, between you and I, John, was that Grant Davis is part of this production.
Or at least his doppelganger, Elijah Wood.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. That's not Grant Davis. That's Elijah Wood. Yeah, this is Elijah Wood. It's actually his production company that's making this, Spectre Vision. And the whole kind of thing here, it's kind of weird the way that they're framing it, because they were like, so I was over, Elijah Wood's like, hey, I was over at Ubisoft, we were doing this thing, and we found these tapes that were like scans of somebody's brain, and then we were like, let's put these brain scans into VR, and then you can experience them for yourself. And it's got this whole kind of like weird VHS, like lo-fi kind of look to it. I don't know. What do you think we can?
I mean, it's VR. As long as it's good, I'm there. I'm down. I'm sure. Yeah, if it's an actual game or whatever it is.
See, now that's the thing. I don't think it's a game. Or I think that if it is a game, it's a very lightweight game. Because one of the things that I found out that I didn't know when I was doing a little bit of research on this is that this is also coming to the Xbox One and a few other places. Is that you don't have to play this in VR. It's going to be essentially VR optional.
Okay.
Which to me means that you're probably going to it's not going to be taking advantage of probably not maybe taking advantage of room space or the wands or anything.
Okay.
In fact, I'm starting to wonder whether it's just some kind of interactive movie,
like that one game or like that one thing y'all played where it was like the guy that was all live action. It was kind of like a choose your own adventure thing. Where it was
night something. Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I don't.
Where the
know.
guy worked at a car park and then he got kidnapped and.
My brain just wants to say Night Trap, John, and I know it's not Night Trap.
Night Trap is coming out at some point.
Why? Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, you're putting on airs here. Nobody's showing a trailer for Night Trap at their E3 press conference. Not even a little snippet in the indie montage at one point. Just let me down, man. A true video game classic is returning, and you guys are all about Shadow of the Colossus. What about Night Trap? Come on. Fucking Ubisoft, put out Sewer Shark.
God damn.
At the very end, also, there's a part of this trailer or of this kind of little presentation. There's this guy who's just like, "Oh, it's perfectly safe." No, I'm telling you, it's real safe. And what we don't see a lot that would be construed as gameplay outside of this one little snippet of kind of somebody in a hall, and there's a little a person, a little figure in the hall. The rest of this is just it could literally be, I don't know, just about anything.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know. I do like the idea of getting more in-depth VR experiences that are tied to direct big budget companies, right?
Yeah. And here's the thing: if it is one of those choose your own adventure movies kind of thing, I'm okay with that too.
Yeah.
I'm totally down for a VR movie that I get to watch and be part of. You know.
Anyway, I don't know. This is spring 2018. It's interesting. I mean, if you don't know about it, I would highly suggest going and taking a look at it. Okay, next up we have. So apparently, for years there has been or for a while now, there's been a rumor that Ubisoft has been working on a pirate game, and apparently it is Skull and Bones.
Yeah, it's essentially the pirate ship sailing aspects of Assassin's Creed moved over into its own game and expanded upon.
Contracted upon, as near as I could tell. Well, I don't know. I was actually reading an article of somebody who went to go see it.
I just mean different. They started with that as a base. And
sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm actually okay. So this is a multiplayer version of the sailing experience from. Well, I guess technically it's AC3, right?
Yeah.
But it was also in Black Flag. It was also in Rogue. It was. It wasn't in the other two though, right? Unity and Syndicate both didn't have that. I'm a little upset at Ubisoft about this because, boy, they didn't change very much. At least from what we can see in this, the interface seems almost identical to what was in those games. The shanties that they're singing, that your pirate guys are singing, seem like they're just about identical to what we saw in Black Flag. The gameplay looks to be almost identical. It's the sort of thing that I think that this would have been an interesting thing if they had released it around the time that Black Flag came out as a way, as a multiplayer mode for Black Flag, right? But as a standalone, I just have to wonder. I mean, for example, you can capture other ships, but it's automated at this point. Is that you just pull up next to them and you hit a button, and then there's just a cutscene, and then you get to decide whether to salvage the ship for money or use it to repair.
So it's exactly like Black Flag.
So it's exactly like Black Flag, except that in Black Flag you actually got to swing over and have a very brief Assassin's Creed fight. Whereas here,
sometimes
you just hit a button. So. I mean, all the CGI trailer and even the game itself, it looks real nice. It doesn't look bad or anything. The ships are all completely customizable, and they've got all the rigging and stuff on them. And when they bang into each other, they've got all this shit flies off, and it's cool. The water looks fantastic. It all looks real good. It's just I have to wonder. if this is, well, first off, I didn't look it up, but do you have any idea whether this is going to be a full retail product or whether this is going to be like a download, a $30 download?
Oh, I don't know.
Because if it's a full $60 game, like, I just don't know that this thing has any legs to keep playing. Maybe the sort of thing that you play for, 4 hours and then just be like, all right, I'm done with that. I don't know. Does Ubisoft, they don't really do that much like free-to-play microtransaction stuff, do they?
Yeah, they don't really do that.
Most of their stuff is like $20. It's like even...
Well, I've heard them say that there might be a story campaign with this as well, so I wouldn't be surprised if they do release it as a full like $60 game.
Do you think that even if there is a story campaign, if you never, if you don't like get off the ship and there is no, and it's just ship-to-ship combat, do you think that gamers want a full game, a full price game that doesn't have something? I mean, I don't know. I feel like if I really wanted to scratch this itch, I could just go back and play Black Flag again.
Yeah.
Or one of the other ones, because this doesn't seem like it's really...
well, everything I'm looking at in the trailer and everything I watched and the stuff that I watched about it, it looks exactly like Black Flag.
It's so much like that it's kind of, like I feel like it's kind of insulting. Now I guess there is a kind of a PvP, a ship PvP aspect to it as well.
I mean, there are some people who do like that, who want more of that. So good on them if they're going to get it.
Yep.
You're the pirates.
Yeah. As a big old fan of pirates, I just am like, can you put in a dancing mode and then like a dueling mode, and then we can get a sequel to Sid Meier's Pirates? Could you just make Sid Meier's Pirates but make it look like this? Because that's a game that I would be more than interested in playing.
Sid Meier somewhere is like, I knew it. I knew these games would be big. I was ahead of my time.
Yep. At this point, we had, as we all knew,
Dancing.
Just Dance.
Yeah.
2018.
Got
You know what?
Guys dressed as like Scorpion and Sub-Zero.
Yeah, that was real weird. Dancing to Jamiroquai. Well, it was like, you know what? This was about the best possible scenario that we could have for Just Dance 2018, because we had like 3 different snippets of songs where one was Jamiroquai, the second one was this kind of like Korean K-pop or something like that. These little girls came out dancing around, and then there was a panda that came out that was also dancing around, and then this lady, Bebe Rexha or something like that. I don't know what her name is. I don't know who she is. She's probably big with the kids these days.
I don't know.
She comes out singing one of her songs. Everybody's dancing around. And then she just walks up to the front and she's like, Just Dance 2018 coming out in October, all platforms, bye. And then everybody just runs off stage. And I'm like, excellent. That was about as much Just Dance as I wanted to see.
Yeah.
They don't have to promote it anymore. They know that people are going to go buy it. And it must cost Ubisoft next to $0 to make a new Just Dance game, and then they just get to reap the rewards. So, from there, we got something interesting, something that was a little bit different that I'm actually really, really, really excited about. And that is, it's funny because they had this thing where a cell phone came up, and you're like, it's your telephone, it's a music player. For years, people do blah blah blah. Unfortunately, they let Trey Parker do the voiceover for that, and it was just like, oh, okay, this is a South Park thing, from the moment. And it turns out that this is South Park Phone Destroyer, which is it's
like a card game.
It's a card game, yeah.
I looked at it, I was like, I'll play this.
Yeah,
if it's free to play.
Yeah, I 100% will as well, because it looks like it's pretty clever. It came out and it was like, it's cowboys versus Indians versus clerics versus Eskimos versus other stuff, and it looks like it's a card game, and then it's got that South Park humor in it.
Yeah,
more than happy to play some more South Park, because the fact that this shit is being run by the people who run the show, I think makes all the difference in the world. Is that we constantly see people outsourcing their property to some other company, and then it ends up being pretty decent facsimile. The fact that this shit is, whether it's directly made by Trey Parker or Matt Stone, or whether it's just that they're overseeing it, so far it seems like they've done a very good job at staying faithful to the show. So after that, we had something real strange, real bizarre. I could not have predicted this in my most wildest of dreams. It is not that space game that we stole the trailer from in Watch Dogs 2 from Ubisoft.
Yeah.
It is a space game, though.
Yeah.
But it's a Skylanders, like, you buy a ship that sits on top of your controller and then plug modules into the ship to get different types of weapons and guns and stuff.
In the game.
And then it's like a sci-fi, you're out in space, but you're also flying around down on planets. There seems to be a relatively decent, a relatively fleshed out story mode.
It's like someone went, Skylanders is good.
Yeah.
No Man's Sky is interesting.
Yeah.
But let's get rid of that walking around stuff. You always stay in your ship. What if we combine the two? Yeah, let's do that.
I like the look of what I'm seeing here. By the way, This is called Starlink Battle for Atlas. And I like what I'm seeing here of the flying around, and the art style looks very put together, very polished. All the voice acting and stuff that we heard sounds real good. It's just, I have one question, John. Do you know what that question is? I think it might be the question that every single person has.
How does the game register what you're plugging into the...
No, it looks like it's connected to the controller in some way.
Okay.
No, my question is how much?
Oh,
how
yeah.
much do these little motherfuckers cost? Because I'm a sucker for spaceships that blowing up other shit. Like, I really am. And you give me a futuristic spaceship that's blasting on shit, I am more than happy to give you my money. But if it's like, these things are just such a money sink, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's at least 2 or 3 different ships.
Not to mention they probably are going to have module packs where you can buy and get other types of weapons that are in the game. And
Yep. This is actually coming, though, to Xbox One, PS4, and Switch.
Yeah.
So it's going to be on all 3 of them. I don't know. I like the look of it. I need to know more information about how much it fucking costs, because I will buy a dumb little plastic spaceship as long as it's not too expensive.
Okay.
I don't know. Does it stir any feelings within you?
No.
No?
No.
Not really at all.
I don't feel like playing a video game where I have something strapped to my controller.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's kind of my thing.
Okay. Not like John, you guys don't know this, but John furiously removes all the wrist straps from all of his Nintendo.
No, I don't mind like that, but I just mean I don't like, I don't...
Yeah, no, I got you. No, I understand.
You have this thing sitting on top of your controller, and I just... I don't know, I just don't...
Well, there's only 2 ways that it could go, right? Either it's light enough that it doesn't make any difference to the way your controller feels, and so it's just cheap-ass plastic, or it's like made of sturdy materials, and then it's like you've got this weird weight on your controller when you're trying to play. Yeah, I don't know. I still like the look of it. It'll be interesting to see if you can. The question will be, can you play all the way through the game just by buying whatever their dumb starter kit is without ever buying another ship? And is it satisfying if you just have that, or are you literally marketing this to, like, because goddamn, if I was an 8-year-old like buying this, and then if you could take that ship off and then it's like flying around and stuff, that would be amazing. Next up, it's the game that John and I care more about than any other Ubisoft game that's ever been.
You are a liar, sir.
In the history of mankind. Get hyped, everybody. Hold on to your asses. It's about to get cold in here because it's time for some DLC for Steep. Wow! I have fucking collector's edition of Steep.
That's not my fault.
I know. It's my fault because I didn't want to go to another GameStop and I had like a very limited amount of time. So this is Road to the Olympics. It seems like it's more...
It's just Olympics, Winter Games.
It's more like structured, right?
Yeah.
And less like, oh, we're just going down the mountain and there's an avalanche. Couldn't give 2 shits about Steep. Just really couldn't care at all about what's going on in Steep.
Unless an abominable snowman is running after me and tries to kill you, I don't care.
Yep. And actually, you know what? We're pretty close to the end of this one. But we do have some interesting stuff to talk about because next up, we got everybody's favorite, least controversial game of all time, Far Cry 5.
You keep saying these things that are the opposite of what they actually are.
It's called dramatic irony. Look into it. It's humor. It's how you make people laugh because they're like, "Oh, I thought it was going to be serious. Oh, but it's not. That was funny." And they go, ha, 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 on the bus. And people are like, what are you listening to? And they're like, the Rage Select podcast. And they're like, ooh, let me look that up. I'm going to subscribe right now. And then fucking Casper will send me a brand new mattress so that we can shill their shit on my show, and then you can have my old mattress. Everybody wins. I don't know.
I don't want your old mattress.
Why not? It's a perfectly good mattress.
I've got a mattress.
Could you use another mattress, though? I mean, no. I've got 3 already.
I got 2. I don't even need the ones I got.
Anyway, enough of this mattress talk. You can have the Nature Box subscription. How's that? You can get the Nature Box.
Far Cry 5.
Far Cry 5. The man with the deepest voice in all of video games. I don't even remember his name.
Yeah, he had a really deep voice.
Yeah, well, he said it before. You remember when he announced Far Cry 4 and he just came out and he was like, fucking Far Cry 4. Here.
I was out in the woods building something.
Dan Hay.
With my bare hands. I broke a tree down with my bare hands.
Yep.
And then I said, let's make a video game.
Let's make a video game. With our bare hands!
It's going to be another Far Cry.
So we actually got a little bit of gameplay here. This looks very much like a Far Cry game.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Although I will say that the difference here, it's actually interesting how you could look at this and go, okay, it's just a Far Cry game, except that like the trees and the tractors and the water towers and the gates and stuff like do differentiate it.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like Far Cry 4
it doesn't look like any of the previous Far Cry games. It looks like its own game.
Yeah, it definitely just has the flavor.
That's actually been one of the things I've really been impressed with about the Far Cry games is that each one looks like a different game.
Right. Yeah, because I feel like in a lot of ways, to compare it to something else, Assassin's Creed tends to start to ooze together a little bit, whereas the Far Cry does seem to have its own flavor, even if it goes on a little bit too long. But this particular gameplay segment is kind of all about partners, right? The people that you're going to be working with. We definitely see a marking system because, it is still a Ubisoft game, so we got to look at stuff, look at targets, mark them on our map so we can see them through walls and shit. In this, it appears that there's that the family or whatever has like stopped some people by the side of the road and they're beating them up. Then we also are introduced. I don't know that we've seen this lady before.
We have not.
Grace Armstrong, and she's like a sniper. And
we also haven't been introduced to Boomer.
Well, I was going to get to that.
Yeah, I'm just saying. We'll get to it in a second.
That you actually tell her specifically where to go perch, sniper perch. And then we go down there and start playing that boom, 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 boom song, and then everybody starts blasting on stuff. But yes, Boomer, speaking of
the Fangs for Hire.
Yep, is your dog who can attack people. He's a good dog. He's a good dog, Brent. He grabs guns from people and will bring them back to you, and he'll grab people. I mean,
rip out their throats.
That's just the Far Cry Primal Beastmaster thing, kind of rearing its head. This all looks very Far Cry, but it also looks very satisfying. Blasting on some fools, getting support from your friends, and then at one point, we have Boomer.
Well, like it starts to introduce the in-game AI characters that you can partner up with.
Yeah,
and then it then goes on to say, oh yeah, and your online friends as well.
Yeah, because we also have Nick Rye, who we already saw one of the like CGI story trailers for.
Yeah,
who has a plane that you can call in. It just seems like there's a lot of like calling people in to do stuff, which I seem to remember kind of similarly happening in the previous Far Cry games, where you could just like call assistance from the groups that you were working for. Once you got to a certain level, but it seems like they're really trying to flesh these people out, and instead of them being like, oh, it's the Resistance, it's like, no, I'm calling Nick specifically to come to a bombing run. I don't know about this. The last person, the quotey fingers person that was introduced is co-op that you can have with your friends. And just like from the trailer, this person drives this truck in.
He drives in Optimus Prime.
It looks exactly like Optimus Prime. Actually, but did you notice this one thing when they cut to the inside of the truck?
The Vaz,
a Voss, hula bobblehead on the dashboard. I don't know. I'm for it.
Yeah, no, it looks great.
Looks good.
I want to play it.
I mean, just a lot of like. I think that the kind of Americana angle looks real fun.
Yeah,
it's different. It's a different type of setting than what we had before. Oh yeah, there's one section where it seems like we're going to be able to fly planes. I don't know if we actually flown we flew the little. It was like a gyrocopter.
Yeah. Well, they did kind of. We already kind of knew that we'd be able to fly planes in this game,
right?
So it's
still kind of a new thing.
Yeah,
for Far
it is
Cry.
kind of a new thing.
Tell you what else is new: running over people with a combine.
Yep, drive a combine and run people over, and blood goes everywhere.
Oh my God, that's incredible! That's almost as good as shooting a shark with a rocket launcher. Not quite. It's just not as good, but it's almost that good. We also got dune buggies and baseball bats. There are more American flags in this trailer than I think I've ever seen in a video game ever in the history of mankind.
Because America.
Because America. I was actually reading an article on, I think it was like Polygon, where they were talking about, like, the one thing that everybody's talking about is in one of the gameplay demos, apparently they just stopped and, like, looked out the one side of the car, and there was just a bull having sex with a cow, just, like, straight up humping on the side of the road. It was like, all right, okay.
Well,
there's
America.
We're fighting, we're flying airplanes, driving Optimus Prime, and hitting you with the American flag goddamn baseball bat. I got a dog and a lady friend and a Camaro and a combine, and I will run over your fucking house, your whole house. Yeah. This is coming out, though, early next year.
Yeah,
right?
early next year.
God damn it. I want to play this game.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're just going to... They're going to promote the fuck out of it between now and then.
Yeah,
aren't they?
Yeah, they are. They really are.
So last up, I feel like when we were talking about this is probably the biggest oh shit moment of E3 2017.
This was the Shenmue 3 of this E3.
Okay.
Because the year that Shenmue 3 got, like, we're doing shit, that Sony brought out, them and said, hey, we're doing Shenmue 3 and the Kickstarter launches now kind of thing. Like, there were legitimately people that went, I bet you Shenmue 3 is going to be announced this year. And then everyone started laughing like, like that'll ever happen. Right. And then it happened. Yeah. And I feel like right before E3, everyone went, oh, I bet there's going to be this game this year. Yeah, that'll fat chance. Okay, it happened.
Yeah. And that game is beyond Good and Evil 2.
Yeah.
Which, has only been, 2 decades?
10 years? Yeah, 15 years?
Something like that. And this isn't a gameplay trailer. This is just
a total cinematics,
total CGI trailer. And we've got so the things that we know. First off, this is a prequel to
it is
Beyond Good and Evil. So we're probably not going to be getting any more Jade in this game.
There's some theory that it may be dealing with Jade's mother.
That makes sense. There's a kind of a figure that's very shadowed out towards the end of this trailer.
Yeah.
I thought was Jade until they said it was a prequel. But in the beginning here, we've got this kind of what do they call the accent that this monkey has? The kind of like Cockney.
I don't know.
Like gang,
I don't.
Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels a little bit, or no, Attack the Block, those guys, and he's like bringing this giant pig guy a little statue that he wants, and he's exchanging it for some kind of like CD-ROM of information. And then it turns out that he's cheated him, that the statue is made out of chocolate. And then he
I love the fact that he has a fake robot hand, and then it reveals that he actually has a real hand, so it's a double fake out.
Yep. And from there, he jumps up and gets into kind of like a sky car with this lady, and they start kind of running from the cops. This pig guy is obviously just like, fucking go get
Send all of the cops after them.
Yep. He's real gross guy. He's a real gross looking character model. He's very saggy, and he's got a lot of he just seems like he's sweaty. Seems like it would smell real bad. But yeah, this lady and this monkey, they're flying off on their motorbike, and then all the cops start chasing them.
I just like how really expressive all of the characters are.
Yeah.
Also, something someone pointed out in the chat when we were watching this that it didn't dawn on me, like Beyond Good and Evil, they didn't really use like curse words and stuff. Like it was very tame, like a E for everybody almost in some ways. This, like, they're like full on mature, like they're cursing. There's like
people getting blown up.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of craziness. It's cool. I mean, like I like what I'm seeing here. It's very Fifth Element. A lot of people.
And I love that.
Very kind of like this interesting future, and then they kind of go off and they're delivering this CD-ROM, and it's like kind of like, so as near as I can tell, when Michael Ansel or Michel Ancel came out, he was saying that like this is the future where corporations are creating these animal hybrids to like colonize the stars, and that you're part of this group that's trying to find kind of like a safe haven for a group of these animal people. They got a big ship that flies off at the end of the trailer. Everything. I mean, this is a CGI trailer, and we all know that that's no indication of quality. But if this is what their art style and their general story direction is, thumbs up from me.
Yeah,
man.
no, I'm totally down for it. I totally want to play it. I mean, obviously we don't know what it looks like, but it's also very clear that from when they walked out, the Michael Michel
Ancel.
Yeah. When he walked out, he was very emotional about the fact that he finally got to show this trailer, because I know he's been fucking trying to get this game made forever.
Yeah. Oh, we didn't even talk about it in the Rabbids part where they fucking thanked the lead dev on that, and that dude was just fucking straight up crying in the audience. But yeah, they talked a little bit about the plot and about, kind of saying like, hey, thanks to Yves for getting this thing made. They mentioned something called the Space Monkey program.
Yeah, where if you send an email to a specific email address, it'll add you to the Space Monkey program, which will probably be like a newsletter.
Yeah.
But there's some rumors that there's going to be some other stuff too, like they might get like beta access or something.
So kind of some kind of early access. So I don't know. I mean, hey, you know what? Again, when we look at what we've just gone over, there were very few shooty blast military games this year at the Ubisoft conference. There was a lot of interesting stuff, and it was very diverse. I feel like there was stuff in there for young people and older people and the people who want to dance and people who don't want to dance. And
you can dance if you want
to. Yeah, you can leave your friends behind. But yeah, I'm gonna say it again. This is probably the biggest reveal of E3 2017. I haven't seen anything.
Well, like I said, this was kind of the Shenmue 3 thing. This was, no one thought it was going to happen.
I don't want to be too dismissive of this, but wasn't Shenmue 3 last year?
Actually, I think it was like 2 years ago.
Was it 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
That game's still not out, but it was like 2 years.
What else did they announce? Because last year it was like Death Stranding, God of War, Spider-Man, right? That was
that was the year that they did that, and then also they announced that the fucking thing with his dog from the Shadow of Colossus and Ico people. What the fuck was it called?
Last Guardian.
They announced that was coming back, like that their production on that was back in. Because remember before that they said it was like that year they just like, oh yeah, here's all this stuff, and it was like literally a checklist of every hardcore gamer fantasy for the last 10 years.
Okay. I just something in my brain kept thinking that they announced Shenmue 3 the same time that Death Stranding was announced, and I was like,
no,
because I don't think that. I think, well, for me personally, Death Stranding is higher in the hierarchy.
Oh no,
things,
Death Stranding was a big thing.
Yeah,
but the reason I equate this to that is because we knew at one point Beyond Good and Evil 2 was in development, and then they wouldn't talk about it for a long time,
right?
And then they showed a trailer for it, and then they didn't show another trailer for that was 5-6 years ago that they showed a trailer.
I think
maybe longer
than that. I think it was
and then
7 or 8 years.
and then they were like, well, it is in development. Okay, well, what is it? Well, it's not. And then they were like, it's been shelved.
Yeah,
it's not sorry, it's not coming out. There's nothing being done with it. And then there was a tweet last year from the head developer guy.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, it still is in development. We just don't have anything to share.
Yeah.
And then it kind of became that running joke of E3 that but it's literally the only running joke of E3 that hasn't been actually announced is Half-Life 3.
Right.
It's literally, if next year Steam came out, Valve came out and said Half-Life 3 and it's coming to the PS4,
right,
and it's VR,
right,
then that would there'd be nothing to hope for E3. E3 would just have to shut down. It would be over because there's nothing to look forward to in the future.
I was actually listening to a podcast from some guys, I think it was the Game Informer guys at E3 today, and they actually said that that E3, that to some people, apparently they sold something like 15,000 tickets.
Oh no, this is the highest attended E3 ever.
But they were saying it's just it's hard to get around in E3 anymore.
Yeah, there was a lot of I think Polygon had an article about how before the doors opened on the first day, he was stuck outside for 2 hours, and
so many people lined up,
actually missed 2 of his appointments because you couldn't get in the fucking building.
Yep.
And this was like, I'm press. I am not, like, I did not pay to get here. I'm here to actually do stuff for actual work.
Right.
I can't get in the fucking building.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people don't know this, but I mean, like, you know, when Jason and I went, like, if you're in press, there's a line to go in because there's only one door that goes in. So, but when they're getting ready to open up the doors, everybody lines up, and it's just like, it's a big line. It usually goes out the front door of the Staples Center, and
apparently they opened the doors like 15 minutes early because of how long the line was getting.
He had 15,000 people to that, like that, and that's, you know what? There's a difference between PAX and E3. Gamescom does this, but they do it where it's like day 1 and day 2 are press only, and day 3 is open to the public.
Yeah. Whereas
I've heard again that people are waiting in line for 4 hours to play Call of Duty World War II, and it's like, that's not good for anybody. Like, that's not, this is supposed to be a trade show, and at this point there's already a huge amount of press online, and this kind of thing is why they then shut it down and moved it to Santa Monica, and then they brought it back to LA, right?
Yeah, I feel like they're going to have to do something like with what Gamescom does, where they maybe not shut it down so that only people can get the public can get on the last day, but maybe do a thing where they're going, okay, Monday and Tuesday are press only,
right?
And then,
well, I mean, like, they could just make it run all week, because the thing is that it's Monday and Tuesday.
Well, the Monday that's technically closed.
Yeah, Monday
it's Tuesday through Thursday.
Yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Tuesday they used to open after Nintendo's conference, so it would be they would open at like 10, and then on like Wednesday and Thursday. On Wednesday they would open, they'd be like open from like 8 to 6, and then on Thursday they'd be open from like from 8 to like 4. They would close early. So if they just had it open 8 to 8 Monday through Friday, then you could say Monday, Tuesday, half of Wednesday is for press, other half of Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is for everybody. Now that's a tax. That's a huge tax on game developers, because it means that they have to go employ people to man the booths for an entire fucking week. But it would probably be better than people not being able to get to their appointments. So anyway, that has nothing to do with Ubisoft. Ubisoft, how do we feel in the hierarchy that Ubisoft did?
They did okay.
I think they did well.
I don't feel like, I mean, yeah, you're right. I feel like that the Beyond Good and Evil 2 is probably the biggest like, reveal of the entire event. I don't feel like it's kind of this weird thing where I feel like all of the press conferences, even the ones we haven't talked about yet, they're all good. Like, I don't think there was one bad press conference.
Yeah.
They're all good.
I would say that Bethesda probably was the one that edged up closest to what I would call bad, but still,
but it was still good. Like, there was still good I mean, there was Wolfenstein 2, there was there were good reveals in all of them. I don't feel like there was any that were offensively bad, which there were years where EA was a fucking trudge to get through. Or Ubisoft was fucking like, just like, I want to murder everybody.
Let us reach back and remember when Konami used to do press junkets.
Or when Square did their press junket.
Yeah. Like, there have been bad years.
So I mean, and that's not, that's,
or that year with Shaun White and Cammy at Nintendo when it was just like,
So I mean, like, but I think that this year has been, all the press conferences were good. There were all good reveals in every one of them, regardless of how well you rank those. I mean, there's obviously going to be some that the reveals are better than others,
right?
But I feel like they were all like, there was something to get, not maybe excited, but something to look forward to at every event.
I think that we've just gotten used to getting our minds fucking blown for the last 3 or 4 years.
Yes.
And that now when we're not getting our fucking minds blown, we're like, oh, that was terrible, right? Like, you didn't blow my mind once this entire time. So.
But having said that, I think we talked about it on the last podcast, where it was just like, having said that, there was nothing like the mic drop. Mic drop is perfect.
There
was no mic drop moment at any point in any of the conferences. Yeah. Like, it was a solid series of press conferences.
It was just medium. It was just medium E3. Like, it wasn't the year where everything changed, and it wasn't a shit storm. It was just a medium, like, here's a bunch of games. Now, speaking of a bunch of games, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Sony. And then tomorrow we'll end up talking about Nintendo and everything else. But stick around, and we'll be back in like a minute, maybe less.
I want every fucking cop in this fucking city after that fucking bastard!
Grab my chassis, Noxie.
And let's talk about Sony.
Yeah. Now, are we going to talk about the pre-show stuff or just the actual stuff?
We're going to talk about the actual stuff. It's worth noting, though, that because we don't have enough time for all this, I actually put a lot of the trailers from the pre-show into kind of the other trailers category.
Okay, just curious.
Sony, actually, I feel like of all the things that were done at E3, one of the things that they did a great job at is that an hour before their press conference started, they basically did a pre-show where they were showing a bunch of games that weren't even in the conference.
Yeah,
stuff
where
that
they
was
announced a bunch of stuff.
Dropped off the bottom.
Like
Yeah, and it was nice. Like, because it was what I like out of E3 is hearing about a bunch of new things. In fact, some could even make the argument that some of the stuff that they announced in the pre-show was maybe more interesting than some of the stuff that we saw in the actual show itself.
Yeah.
But, whatever.
It's neither here nor there.
Anyway, so the Sony conference started off like last year was the year where they had a full live band for all the trailers. They played a live band.
Yeah, they had a live orchestra playing the music for everything.
This year they had a kind of an Indian themed kind of a sitar like a show and with like a waterfall behind it. That had some pretty cool stuff.
There were also some flame things pyro that would shoot up every now and then during the event.
Actually, before we start talking about this, like I was reading another account of the Sony press conference, and actually it turns out that I feel like Sony did something real weird. There was apparently all kinds of shit happening on that stage during all of the gameplay stuff, and we didn't see hardly any of it because it was there for the people that were watching. But I have to wonder, did it really do anything? Like usually when they make props on the stage, it's because a developer's going to come out, so you're going to be looking at them and the stage and whatever. But outside of the Days Gone, we didn't see that much else. But it's also worth noting that even on the replays for the live stream, somebody fucked it up, man, because we didn't have game sound
for a good portion of like
for the
two trailers, two gameplays,
2.5 of the things that came out. Now you could go watch that stuff, but that's one of those things that you don't want to happen on your live stream.
Also, their stream also seemed to be kind of weird in that it was a little janky.
It was very stuttery. Even this replay that I've got that I downloaded off of YouTube buffers a bunch.
Yeah, like it like skips, like it's kind of playing like it's kind of just weirdly like not like just something was off with Sony's stream, whoever's running that shit.
Yeah. So anyway, we start this out with Uncharted: The Lost Legacy, and I feel like at the PlayStation Experience we got this announced, right?
Yeah.
This is the Chloe and Nadine spin-off. And then we saw one kind of cinematic trailer of the two of them on a boat kind of working out some Uncharted style
which
stuff.
some of that is in this.
Yeah. This is
though, I couldn't hear it, so I wouldn't know specifically what was said.
Did you go back and watch it?
No. I basically, when it didn't have any audio, I was like, well, you dropped the ball on that one. Have a nice day.
Yeah. It's a good trailer. Like, first off, it's the first time that I feel like we've seen anything that's very, like, Uncharted-like, where we've seen, like, giant ruins and things, as well as some outside, driving around kind of in the jungle like that one part in Uncharted 4. What I found really interesting was there was a couple of different things that if you didn't have audio, you wouldn't get. One is that it appears that there's this character in the trailers, this guy with glasses, who's kind of like the villain, who it seems like they're kind of doing one of these like, I caught you, but I'll let you go if you go get the artifact for me. And so the two of them are kind of thrust together to go do that. Also, there's a lot of dialogue in this trailer. It's really a shame that we couldn't hear it because there's a lot of dialogue in this trailer between Nadine and Chloe that makes it clear that like Nadine doesn't trust Chloe and that Chloe's kind of a liar and kind of a thief, right?
Yeah.
So it's a different dynamic than what we saw out of, say, Nate and Sully, or even Nate and his brother, or even Nate and whoever, right? It comes closest to us seeing Nate and Chloe together, except that Nadine is a lot more. She's a lot more violent than Nate is. So I feel like, as I said, so we also found out that it's coming out August 22nd, and I actually looked it up. It's $40. So it's not going to be
title.
Full retail. But honestly, this is what I want out of out of things like Uncharted. Like, I'd rather see these franchises not just iterate with the same character forever, but spin off into other things. Because
this is probably the last Uncharted thing we're ever going to get.
maybe, I don't know, if Sony still holds the rights to it, we might see it pop back up like God of War did.
Yeah,
right?
it's possible, but I know that Naughty Dog was like, this is it for us. We're not going to touch, like, we're not coming back with these characters.
Yeah.
We're not going to come back with this title. We're done.
Yeah. Good. I mean, that's when Uncharted 4 was announced, and I was arguing with people for 6 months. It was just like, I want Naughty Dog to go do the next Uncharted, right?
Yeah.
Because Uncharted came out of nowhere and it was great and I loved it, but like they just kept making more and more.
Now
and more
they're making The Last of Us 2,
right.
which they stated in an interview that the reason there was no Last of Us 2 anywhere in this press conference is because that they wanted Uncharted to be the focus, they didn't want it to be overshadowed. So
that makes sense, but it is kind of conspicuously missing.
Well, it's going to be at PlayStation Expo.
Yeah. Yes, almost certainly. But yeah, I'm real into this. I want to play it. I can't really say much more than that. It looks like an Uncharted game. The gameplay that we saw looks like they're doing real good. It looks fantastic. I want to play it. Speaking of things that look fantastic, we also had a trailer for Horizon Zero Dawn: The Frozen Wilds, which is DLC, which appears to take place all up in the Great White North. I don't really know if there was any part of Horizon that took place in a snowy area, but that seems to be kind of like a focus of this trailer.
Apparently, from what I heard, that the Horizon Zero Dawn ended on a cliffhanger.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
does this resolve it?
Yeah, that's what a lot of people are wondering, if this is supposed to resolve that cliffhanger.
Boo. I don't know. I looked at the trailer. I couldn't tell if there were any new robots. They looked kind of like all the robots I've already seen.
They did say that there were some new ones.
Okay. It appears that Alloy is going to get into this big mountain that's up there that's got answers. I need the answers. All I know, John, is that there better be some goddamn robot Yetis in here, or else 0 out of 10. No, 0 out of 10. Or maybe like snowboarding. Like steep expansion.
Yeah.
No? Okay.
All right.
Next, we saw more of Days Gone.
And then someone figured out the audio issue.
Yes, somebody finally figured out the audio issue. We could hear stuff again.
So, like, I made the joke that finally whoever was in charge of the audio came back from his bathroom break and was like, oh, shit.
Yeah. I just don't know how there weren't like 2 or 3 other people watching the stream that were just like, fix this. Like, how was it possible that it went on for so long before they fixed it? So, you know, for those of us that have... I mean, we already knew last year that Days Gone is a biker zombie apocalypse thing where you got people that are kind of trying to survive in this zombie apocalypse. We see some zombie wolves here, and there's actually kind of... but when I was watching this, I was struck because there's kind of a theme throughout this trailer that I really like, and that is, do you remember the Walking Dead Survival Instinct? The crappy Walking Dead game that nobody liked?
Yeah.
I liked one part of that game, and that was the idea that if you make a universe where zombies react to sound more than anything else, then your game becomes like a stealth game, right? Because you don't want to wake up the zombies. And in this, the way that the zombies are this huge kind of like tidal force of nature, like you're not just going to kill all of them, makes it kind of for an interesting thing. Like, a lot of people have compared this to The Last of Us, and it definitely has Last of Us DNA in it, I feel like.
Yeah.
But
also compared the zombies to DayZ, the movie.
Oh, yeah. World War Z.
World War Z, sorry. Not DayZ.
I am interested. This is one part where you have to, like...
and he gets biker vision?
Yeah, the main character's looking for his friend, and he finds his broken broken down motorcycle, and then it kind of goes into this weird detective vision. He knows what direction his friend went, and it's just like... I hope you guys explain that, because why does he have...
Well, it's like parts of the bike start glowing to show what still works and what's salvageable.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, he has biker vision.
Yeah. This whole demo is kind of based around the fact that there's a group of people that are hanging around outside the settlement where this guy is. that are like ambushing people and taking supplies, and so he's kind of going to go find his friend or brother or lover or I don't know.
Yeah, and there was a scene where he walks through like these dead bodies hanging from the ceiling, and one of them starts moving, and then it pans out, and like on the stage there are like these people hanging from their legs above the stage, and then they start moving as well.
Why? For the love of God, you had to pay those people. Like,
yeah, it's
anything.
like why was that a thing that happened?
It looks like we're going to be getting to our good old friend like chest high grass to hide in, where you're completely invisible if you're just you have grass up to your neck. There's kind of a segment here where the main character sets a bear trap and then lures somebody into it. And then when they start screaming, it basically attracts a large horde of zombies that come in to kind of kill everybody. So I kind of like the idea of using kind of anti-stealth traps to draw. Like, I think it'd be really interesting if you never were really fighting the zombies. You were mostly just trying to draw them to other locations to have them do stuff for you.
Yeah.
And very specifically at the end of, towards the end of this trailer, there's kind of a camp full of these people. And they've got like a blockade set up like on the river near where they are, and he puts an explosive on the blockade and blows it up. And when he blows it up, the zombies just come streaming in and kind of chase everybody out of this little modified treehouse thing that they've got, allowing him to kind of go in unimpeded to do the rescue of his friend. The whole thing looks really nice.
Yeah,
like the graphics look really nice, and the kind of voice acting and stuff. It'll be interesting to see whether it ends up being very formulaic, right? Like how open this world is, what all you're doing. Have we had there's bound to have been like an open world zombie title that's not Red Dead. It's like a modern one, right?
there's been games that use maybe not zombie. There's the Dead Rising games.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that totally works.
And also Dead Island.
Ah, yes, that as well. I was thinking more of like, because this really reminds me of like a cross between Left 4 Dead and Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, with
the driving and such. But anyway, I think it looks real good. I think it looks like the graphics look good, and I like the mechanics that I'm seeing. It looks like it could be. Oh, also, Zombie Bear.
Yeah, there was
totally
a Zombie Bear
at the end, which was kind of terrifying because he had like this barbed wire and all this shit on him, and goddamn zombie.
Also, like Sean Layden came out.
Yeah.
Was it just me, or he seemed like really off his game a little bit?
I just didn't feel like he had a lot to say. He was just like, PlayStation, it's good.
Yeah, it's just I don't know.
Trailers,
like it just kind of felt like that was my thing with the PlayStation, with the issues with the audio and the issues with the stream, and him kind of coming off being a little awkward. Like he even brought up, he's like, "Yeah, I just had to walk under some zombies, and I didn't expect to do that because they didn't tell me that was going to happen, and I'm a little unnerved by that."
Yeah,
And he was like, "It's just the entire Sony press conference kind of came off a little awkward to me."
I could see that. Yeah, I could see that. He definitely was. I mean, he definitely was. As much as I could complain about other kind of corporate shills coming out and doing stuff, he seemed the most wooden. Gilmo was good. What's his face?
Well, it's just like in previous years, he's been, very charismatic. Maybe not. Maybe he's still very wooden.
Very stuffy.
He's very stuffy, but there was like he seemed to like know what he was doing. Like, oh, I'm here. This is what I'm going to say, and then I'm going to step off and show something. Like it was very like this. It was like he didn't have a script, and he was told just to go out there and talk.
Right. Yeah.
And he was like, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, because he's hosted a full conference before. Yeah, I don't know. I agree with you. But I don't know. But what he did actually announce is another big surprise from E3 this year, which is not a specifically Sony exclusive, but it is to me a very interesting, very surprising reveal that I'm actually really, 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 really happy and excited about, and that is Monster Hunter World.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't know. People have been trying to get me to play Monster Hunter for a long time.
Yeah, I've tried. Like I tried the Monster Hunter games that were on the Wii U that were release stateside. I really, really tried.
Yeah,
I could not get into them.
I don't I couldn't either. I felt like I liked him a little bit, but there were two problems. One was that it was the Wii U, so it was kind of clunky. And then even though you can play it with the controller, and then two was that it gets into a point towards the end of Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter makes for very excellent trailers because if you pick out the climactic things that happen in Monster Hunter, it's about you fighting these giant beasts, right? Unfortunately, my experience with Monster Hunter has been that in between that, there is a shitload of boring crafting and grinding and getting ready to fight.
And walking
around, yeah. And you get into a situation where a monster leaves a map, and then you've got to chase it to another map, and there's like a loading screen in between there, and et cetera, et cetera. But this gives me some interesting hope because, well, first up, in watching this trailer, there's stealth mechanics, which there's never been in a Monster Hunter before.
Yeah.
You can kind of hide from stuff. But one of the things that they did was that they made the world is fully open. There's no stages that you travel between. And then, if they can make this game so that you're fighting monsters constantly, you're doing these, because at the end of this, like the back half of this trailer is just this weird T-Rex with the big nose that pops out and like having this big, long, protracted fight with it where it's like chasing him for a while and he's like using this grappling hook to get up into trees and like doing other stuff. And if that ends up being the primary thing that you do in these games, that's great. If it ends up being, cooking meat for 4 hours to make sure that you're in good enough shape to do this stuff, that's not so great. But what I like about this specifically is the fact that it's PS4, Xbox One, PC, I believe.
Yes.
It's going to be on all three platforms. Yeah. And that this is the first time that Monster Hunter has kind of come off of the mobile platform and onto... I mean, the Monster Hunter on the Wii U was definitely a step in that direction, but this is like... It looks really nice. Like, the graphics look really nice. The environments look really dynamic. The monsters chasing you, it seems like it's scary. You got this grapple. You got stealth. You got other monsters coming in, fighting monsters. You got fucking Godzilla versus Mothra. And then you can play it online with your friends. And
then they also said that they're not doing any type of regional locking on it.
Oh, yeah. They're trying to get it released around the same time. They're trying
same date in Japan as it is in the U.S., and everyone's playing on the same servers.
I think they used the cheat word same launch window.
Yeah.
But close. But yeah, I mean, I've always wanted to give Monster Hunter a try. Get it? Monster Hunter try. And I don't know, this could be the one to do it. Like, it's just that previously I didn't want to play it on a handheld, and I didn't really want to play it on a Wii U. But I don't know. It's going to be early 2018, and
Matt Frank is was somewhere very excited about this game.
Matt Frank has already bought it. He's already pre-ordered it.
Really?
Oh, I don't know.
Probably.
It's got a T-Rex in it, John. Come on.
This is true. Yeah.
Matt's easy, you guys. You just show him a T-Rex and go, give me $20, and I'll hand you this picture of a T-Rex. And he's like, okay.
Well, it's got to be a really good picture of a T-Rex.
Oh, yeah, for $20. For $20, you want to get your money's worth out of the picture of the T-Rex that Jeff's going to hand you. Next up, I'm confused.
Okay.
I'm honestly confused.
All right.
Because we're remaking... Blue Point Games is remaking Shadow of the Colossus.
Yes.
Now, we already remade Shadow of the Colossus, or HDified.
No, yeah, it was just made HD last time. This is completely remade from the ground up. Apparently, the game even has like new updated controls that you can also switch between the two. If you decide you don't like the new updated controls, you can switch back to the original.
True.
But they have new controls that are updated. There's no new content in the game.
Yes.
The controls and outside of remaking the graphics from the ground up and making it look really pretty, and the new controls, there's nothing different about the game.
I guess it's a little strange to me. It's a little strange that this was one of those front and center announcements, because it's like Shadow of the Colossus, I don't want to throw shade at Shadow of the Colossus. It's a classic game. I like it a lot. But I played it on the PS2, and then I played it on the PS3, and now it's like again on the PS4.
Yeah. I'm gonna go kind of restate what you just said. In that, Shadow of the Colossus is a fucking amazing game.
Yeah,
no one can deny that.
Sure.
I bought it on the PS2.
Yep.
I bought it on the PS3.
Damn right.
I don't want to buy it a third time.
I just don't. I mean, it depends.
I don't know if I care to buy it a third time.
I'm with you on that. I don't know. I mean,
if it's a budget title, maybe. But if they're completely remaking it from the ground up, is it going to be a budget title? Is it going to be a $20 game? Is it going to be a $40 game? No, it's going to be a $60 game.
Let's see if GameStop has it on their website. Let's just check that real fast. But because Bluepoint, like when they did like the Metal Gear HD collections or whatever, they tended to be more like $40 instead of $60. But that's an excellent question.
But even then, like I just don't know if I want to buy the game again. Like I love those games. I can play it on my, and I get it. They want it. I don't know. Like I said, it's a great game. It's just
Shadow of the Colossus PS4. Yeah, I don't know if this is official yet, but GameStop has it on their website as $60.
Yeah.
So if that was me, if I was just a regular old person, right, I would wait for that to go on sale for $20.
Yeah,
and
I'm
then
just
buy it
like I said. I know that there are people like, oh my fucking god, Shadow of Colossus. It fucking Sony won E3, guys. Sony won E3. I'm getting HD Shadow of Colossus completely remade for PS4 courage. It's fucking Sony one, and I'm just like, I don't really think that's a big thing. Like, I'm not impressed by that.
It's a good game. Don't get me wrong, it's a good game, but it's one of those things where it's like, I've already had multiple opportunities to play this game, right?
Yeah,
like we streamed it here.
Yeah,
with the HD
I read
collection.
weird emails that were sent to Kayla.
Oh yeah, that was fun. Wait, did they even put was the HD version compatible with like the PS4 or something? Or did we play it on the PS3?
No, we were playing on the PS3.
Okay. I don't know. I mean, again, I'm not saying it's a bad game. I'm just saying that technically it's an HD remaster, right? And,
I'm like, that's my big thing. Like, I don't care.
Yeah. And the fact that it's so faithful to the original means that it's not like it's not like Resident Evil, right, where they change it up, where there's a new thing, right? Or
they're not adding anything. They're just changing the controls to be more modern, and then they also leave the original control options in there, which that's something that the Resident Evil remaster did. But I don't know. Like,
hard to get super excited.
Yeah, I was just like, really? Again? We're getting this again? Okay.
Next up, we have Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite.
Oh, shit.
The story trailer.
Yeah, actual story trailer for the game.
Yep.
And it had some new additions of revealing new characters that were not previously announced.
Yep. Nova's in there, and the story is basically based around the fact that some of the Infinity Gems are out there, and that Sigma, Ultron Sigma doesn't have them, and our heroes are trying to go get them. And Matt and I played the demo, and it was kind of unsatisfying. John, you were telling me that apparently everybody's just like,
well, the game looks like garbage.
Yeah.
Even if you look at like just from a graphic standpoint, like if you look at the newest fighting game that's on the market, Injustice.
Yeah.
This looks like last gen compared to that.
That's true.
But having said that, if you look at the last fighting game that Capcom released, a.k.a. Street Fighter V, this still looks like garbage compared to that.
I would say that, even Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 that had the kind of like hard line, cel-shaded kind of thing had more style to it than what we're seeing here.
And then on top of that, like they kind of kiddied down the fighting mechanics.
Yeah.
They have the auto combo, which I don't mind auto combos. That's fine. That's not an issue that I have. But
good for me. I can spam them.
But it's just like, it's not the same type of fighting game, which even with Marvel vs. Capcom 3, they changed it up a bit.
Yeah.
But it still felt like Marvel vs. Capcom, even though it was changed up a bit. This, I played a little bit of it, and I also watched you and Matt play it, and I'm just like, I don't know.
I am unable to evaluate the actual technical mechanics of it. What I do know is that what we played in that story mode, it was like they were trying to do a story mode like Injustice did, except that instead of fighting like villains, you were fighting just these generic Ultron bots.
Yeah.
And that it wasn't really super satisfying. Like, they were easy to whip ass on. And then at the end of that demo, you fight Ultron Sigma, and he's impossible to beat. He just like fucking whoops your. I mean, I'm sure somebody's probably beaten him because you could chip him, but it takes forever.
But and it's just I don't know. And then also looking at it from the Marvel side of things, there are no mutants in the game.
Oh well, that's true.
Like there's no Wolverine. This will be the first Marvel vs. Capcom game without Wolverine. There's no Spider-Man.
Oh wow. Are you sure? Or do we know that they're not going to be eventually in there?
So there is a leaked list that no one knows if it's true or not. But out of the leaked list, Spider-Man is on that list, but he's not. He hasn't been announced yet, which you think they would have announced him by now. But so there's a possibility that it could be. Also, that leak list stated that mutant characters would be DLC released after the game's released.
Okay. Wolverine, Cyclops, and Storm and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
But a lot of people are also thinking that leaked list is wrong as well. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I will say I'm a little upset. I don't mind Captain Commando, Bionic Commando, not Captain Commando, Bionic Commando. I don't mind him being in the game, but why did they go with that version of him and not the orange-haired, mustached military dude from the Rearmed?
Yeah,
like what the fuck is up with that? You went with the least liked version of that one, and then you went with the most liked version of Dante. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, it's mind
you, I like the original version of Dante. I also like the DMC Dante as well. But whatever.
It's funny how that Bionic Commando didn't do well enough to have a sequel, and yet Bionic Commando Rearmed did do well enough to get a second game. I don't know that
he's got no love. Spencer's got no love.
I don't know that Bionic Commando where he's got the. Somebody asked in the comment section, like, why are you guys hating so hard on that Bionic Commando? And it's funny because I looked it up, and it's got like a 70 on Metacritic. I just remember being like, something about that game didn't click with me. I don't know if it was the guy and
his wife arm.
It was trying to be too edgy for me.
It really was.
Look at my dreads and my crazy arm, and I'm in prison, and we're going to give you back your wife arm, but it's got a bomb in it, and if you try to cross us, it'll blow. And it was just kind of like the first 20 minutes of that game, and I was just kind of like, I don't think this one's for me. And then I learned about Bionic Commando Rearmed, and it was just like, yay! Da, 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 like all that Simon Viklund remix music, and it's just like, yay!
I will admit, I love in that demo, I love the banter between Thor and Arthur, and I love the fact that they brought up the fact that Arthur worships a Christian god and even refers to Thor as a heathenistic god.
Yep.
And Thor seemed genuinely upset, like hurt by that comment.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I don't really have a dog in the Marvel vs. Capcom fight because I'm not really very good at those games. I
don't know. I didn't think it looked as good. And that's not knocking anything. That's I don't know. I just didn't like it.
Well, next up on the trailer parade, Call of Duty World War II. We had this just like.
Yeah, funny story.
Yeah.
While watching this, my stream died and I had to reboot my entire console.
Yeah,
because I kept relaunching Twitch and it would load for 2 seconds and then crash. So I had to reboot mine because I was watching everything on my Xbox.
Yeah.
And I had to it wouldn't even load on my PlayStation. It was just a real struggle. And I know part of it was the fact that the Twitch app on consoles, both PS4 and Xbox One, runs like garbage.
Yeah.
But also it was partially due to the fact that this stream ran like garbage for this event.
True.
So I missed pretty much the entirety of this
of the World War II.
Yeah.
It's so generic that it's kind of mind numbing to me because it's just a person running around shooting Nazi. I've seen just about every iteration of World War II video game, and this is just a good looking version of Call of Duty, World War II. Right?
Yeah.
That's not to say that it's bad or that it'll be bad or anything. The thing about Call of Duty that I like is the story. Nothing in this trailer talks about the story at all, so we got to wait for that. The visuals all look nice, but it's also just 2 minutes worth of shooting and running and shooting and running and running and shooting and shooting and running and shooting and running, and it's kind of okay. So from that point, we moved into the VR section.
Yes, this was the part
that
you and I were really excited about. We're like, ooh, this is stuff that we're interested in. And then everyone in the Rage Select chat was like, fuck, get past this VR bullshit. We don't care.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest. The VR, this section this year is less impressive than last year.
No, I
last
agree.
year we had Batman, we had Star Wars, we had Resident Evil 7.
Yeah.
Like that last year, it was just like, oh, damn. This year, I would say there was only one thing that really, really got my juices flowing, and that was, you remember back when we put a pin in VR at the Bethesda conference?
Yeah.
Take that pin out because it's Skyrim in VR.
Yeah.
I will play the fuck out of a Skyrim VR game.
I went, oh, it's Skyrim in VR. I don't really care for Morrowind or Skyrim. Or Elder Scrolls in general.
I do. And Skyrim is all based around, like, I like the fact that Skyrim, the game, is also based around, like, putting a thing in one hand and what you put in the other hand.
Yeah.
It's like, that's perfect.
Now, here's where I'm curious about. Because we talked about Fallout 4 VR, and we talked about Doom VR.
Yep.
And Fallout 4 VR, that's not coming to PSVR. And we talked about the fact that Doom VR is a completely separate thing. It is its own curated for... Now, you own Skyrim Special Edition on your PS4.
I do.
Are you going to have to buy this game over again?
I really don't think so. But if I do, then we're...
And if you do have to buy it again, does it discount you if you own Skyrim somehow?
I tell you what, let me log into the Bethesda press desk and see if they have an answer to that question.
Because that's my big question. Like, is it a DLC thing for Skyrim?
Yeah.
Like it's a add-on pack that you can buy, like it's like $20 or something like that, and you like that I'd be okay with.
Yeah.
If you own Skyrim and you pay $20 and it's just an add-on, like a DLC add-on for Skyrim, then that's cool. But if it's a completely separate, like it's VR, you can only access it in VR, and it's a full $60 game that you have to pay for, that's a little annoying.
Well, see, this is weird. I don't know is the answer to that question.
Okay.
You know what's strange about this is that in the actual official release for this, it only has PlayStation VR listed. It doesn't have Vive or Oculus.
Oh yeah, no. I think this is something Sony
They made a deal.
Made a deal to get it exclusive.
It basically says that in the press release here. I'll just read you what it says. This is what makes me think that you might have to buy it again. It says, from battling ancient dragons to exploring rugged mountains and more, Skyrim VR brings to life a complete open world for you to experience any way you choose. Skyrim VR includes the critically acclaimed core game and official add-ons Dawnguard, Hearthfire, and Dragonborn, which makes it sound like they want you to buy that. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if... we don't know is kind of the answer, and I didn't have a chance to look it up, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was either an upgrade cost or if it was free if you've already...
I would be, like I said, I'm okay if they said, hey, if you own Skyrim, like Special Edition on your PS4, and you have a VR, and you download this pack, it's an add-on pack, and it's $20 or $30 or whatever, however much they want to charge for it.
They don't have a listing for it on the GameStop store.
Okay.
Which makes me wonder whether it's...
And like, I would totally be like, that's okay, whatever they want to charge for that. Now, if they said, no, it's a $60 game or even a $40 game that you have to buy that is its own game that is not the same thing as Skyrim Special Edition, then I might be a little bit like, well...
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to wait to see more, but yeah, that is difficult. On the other hand, I mean, like...
On the other hand, you're a sucker. You've already bought the game like 4 times. You're probably going to be buying
3 times, yeah. And
well, you talked about buying it for the Switch, so that's 4 times,
Switch,
and then you'll probably have to buy it a 6th time now.
Yeah, I've given Bethesda $300 for Skyrim in every incarnation that I can get it in. Actually, that's not true because I bought it on a discount on the PS4 and the PC.
And you never bought it for the Xbox.
That's true. That's very true. I don't know, though. That's one of those things, again, that I feel like Skyrim is a thing where I could just go like, do this, and then like just let me fucking tool around in Skyrim because Skyrim has a gajillion hours worth of stuff. Be more than happy to go tool around in Skyrim for a little while.
Okay.
After that, we saw Star Child, which is another PSVR game, which actually doesn't look a lot like what they showed. Didn't make it look like a VR game.
It kind of reminds me of like, what was that one game that we tried out in VR? Except like the difference is that the camera didn't move. Like, you had to actually, like, recenter the camera every time you move the character.
Bound.
Yeah. Yeah, but in this game, it looks like the camera does move.
Yeah, it looks like a side-scrolling game, but then it looks like there's a bunch of really large stuff in the background.
Yeah.
And I got to say that this could work out really well for VR because if the character is very small, but then you personally are kind of the same size as the big shit, the big monster, big robots and stuff, that's fun. You know, I actually think that there's a case to be made. I was talking about it with Lucky about a third-person or a 2D side-scrolling game in VR because it's a different experience. It makes you feel like a big giant, and you're just like, yay. But it looks pretty cool. I mean, as long
it also could be. There's also the possibility. Someone even suggested that this trailer is more of a cinematic thing, and that you're actually going to be playing from the point of view of the giant robot,
of the big robot, like helping out the little person,
and that the trailer was just a trailer. Like that's not your point of view in the game.
That is actually very similar to something we're going to talk about in a few minutes. But I tell you what, let's kick this up into a slightly higher gear. The Inpatient is a Supermassive Games.
I'm excited for this
VR experience. It seems to take place in an asylum and has a kind of brain bending.
Yeah, someone suggested that it was the same asylum from Until Dawn.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's true because
it seems to take place in an earlier time period. That's
I mean, that's the thing is that the asylum in Until Dawn was abandoned. There was no one there, and it had been shut down. And it's possible it could be that same asylum.
Yeah.
But like I said, either way, I'm excited. I want more VR games like this. I
agree. Looks good. I'll tell you what doesn't look good is the next game. Fucking fishing. Fucking Final Fantasy 15 fishing VR mini game. Oh, suck my dick, Square Enix. Like, Well, is this the same VR game that they showed at E3 last year that like was not received well, that everyone said was fucking garbage? No. There were two parts of that. It's actually in Final Fantasy 15. One is you riding around in the car.
Oh, okay.
The other one is you as
so that actually is
with
that
guns.
Is okay. That actually is in that. Okay.
Yeah. This is a fucking fishing. This is the fishing mini game in Final Fantasy 15 with VR as
Monsters of the Deep.
Monster of the Deep. God damn. Fucking just gross. Just let me play Final Fantasy 15 in VR. Just make it so that I'm just in there and I can just play the game. How hard is that? Next up, we have Bravo Team,
which was another Supermassive Games.
Was it?
Yeah.
This is both Supermassive Games? Okay.
Yeah, no, it's another game from Supermassive. See?
Yeah.
It was another game from them, and this one kind of doesn't look as good.
No, this is like looks like a modern shooter where you're like popping up out of cover.
The textures look really
it looks
not
real
good.
Rough. Which
this could be like an early alpha thing.
Well, here's the other thing: is that when you get into VR, it tends to matter a little bit less because there's so much immersion. Like the graphical fidelity of being in a VR experience matters less because the 3-dimensional and the movement and all that stuff translates into a better experience.
Yeah.
But this looks like just one of those games. I've actually seen a bunch of VR games like this where it's like Mortal Blitz is like this, where you're just hiding behind a thing and then you're popping out. You're using the controls to shoot stuff. Doesn't look great. Whatever. I mean, I don't know. It's weird because Inpatient's characters and like textures and everything look fantastic.
Well, it looks like it's the same engine as that they used for Until Dawn.
Yeah, and then this one looks like a PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
Like, what? And if you're tired of PlayStation VR, we only got one more game to talk about, and that is Moss. And this one looks really cool.
Yeah, it looks like some kind of secretive NIM, mouse guard kind of.
Yeah, you got a little mouse hero, and then your character actually. There's this part where the mouse kind of looks in the river, and you can see that your character is going to be kind of this thing. It looks like one of the what's that guy in Princess Mononoke?
Oh yeah, one of the
or Spirited Away, the
Spirited Away guys,
Faceless or whatever. And it looks like you're going to be trying to help out your little buddy. Like you're going to be using the controls to kind of like turn stuff around to help him kind of platform his way, or her, or whatever the little mouse motherfucker is. That you're going to be there as this giant kind of spirit. That's kind of a cool idea, for integration into a VR experience. And at the end, we get a giant snake. That's PlayStation VR. So if you're tired of listening to PlayStation VR, well, there you go. Next up, God of War, which I thought was really strange.
Yeah?
Well, remember last year how it was like 10 minutes worth of just like watching somebody playing God of War? Well, this year it's a trailer.
Yeah.
And I feel like it didn't tell me more about the game. Like I didn't find out much more about the game. Like it's a lot of kind of real cryptic narration.
I do feel like we did find out a little bit more.
Okay,
because there was a lot of theories about that. Oh, like like the part that they played was like the beginning of the game.
Yeah,
and that like at some point the son was going to get kidnapped and you have to go find him, or that Kratos would die and you play as the boy. But this kind of says no, you're playing as Kratos and this boy throughout the entire thing.
Yeah,
and sometimes you have control of the boy, sometimes you have control of Kratos, sometimes you have control of both of them.
Yeah,
at the same time. But it's kind of. It's kind of one of these things where we find out that it's a father and son story.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that was I don't know. I feel like that was kind of small potatoes. Like during this trailer, there's a part where there's a voiceover of somebody who seems like they're the villain being like, oh, I thought you were civilized, and like talking all this stuff. And I'm just like, I don't know who that is. So I'm not really sure. Like I'm getting snippets of a story, but I'm not getting a good through line. Like compare this to Detroit or Spider-Man that we still have left to talk about.
Yeah.
And those had very clear, like, here's what's going on, here's the central narrative. Like this, I'm just not sure why Kratos is doing anything, who he's going up against, what the challenge is or what. There's even this woman that's in here that I can't tell what her relationship is to Kratos, and I don't know. It just like being that it was a hands-off trailer, it didn't seem to tell me a lot more about mechanics outside of the fact that, it's a third-person action game. It looks a little bit different than previous God of Wars. I like the axe that flies out and comes back. But it also didn't tell me a lot about the story. So I was a little bit let down by this. It's a nice spectacle, but that I wanted more information about God of War.
Yeah.
This didn't give me a lot more information about God of War.
Also, I will say, I like Christopher Judge. He's the new voice actor for Kratos.
Yeah.
I like Christopher Judge, and I get what they're going for with casting him. I do kind of miss the original voice actor for Kratos.
Yeah. I don't know that I really even caught that it was a difference. Because I'm just, his lines in here are all just like, and in God of War 3, it's just the entire time. So, I don't know that I really noticed that much of a difference. But I don't know. I mean, it doesn't look bad or anything. It's just I yearn for more, either a full-on like story trailer or like another 10-minute gameplay walkthrough explaining mechanics and the way that the game world, like, is it going to be an open world game? What's it going to be coming from? What's it going to be doing? I also got to say that, just sorry everybody, but kids really fucking turn me off in video games, and I don't like them. I don't like kids in movies, in video games. I don't like them in my fiction, and I don't know. I just don't like this kid. So I guess we'll see when it comes out. I did like this big world snake thing, though, at the end.
Well, I also like the fact that they bring up the fact that, like in the interviews, they were talking about this. And in this scene, the world snake thing at the very end where it starts speaking and then Kratos goes, what is he saying? And he's like, oh, he wants to help us.
Right.
Apparently, there are a lot of scenes where creatures will yell at you in Norse or Nordic or whatever language that is. Mm-hmm. And Kratos doesn't understand the language at all.
Right.
But his son, having grown up around it, knows that he's bilingual.
Oh, okay.
And will be able to tell you, like, oh, no, he's a good guy. And you have to kind of... Apparently, there might be something at one point where the kid's maybe not 100% truthful about what the person says.
Right.
And so then from then on, you have to decide, do you trust what your son says that they're saying?
That's cool.
It's kind of a neat little... aspect of it. Like, you could go into a situation where something looks threatening or seems threatening.
Yeah. But,
like... It's totally like, hey, I'm here to help you, buddy. I'm excited to help you. Let's do this thing, buddy.
Right.
And then you're just pretty much like,
yeah.
And then you just kill it, and it's like, oh, I should have done that.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll play it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to play it. I just wanted more.
Yeah.
I tell you what I don't want more of.
What?
And that is Detroit Become Human.
Really?
I know what it is.
Yeah, no, I know what it is too.
Like
it's David Cage. It's a David Cage production.
They've explained it to me, and boy, did they have just a real long trailer for it that I didn't need. I didn't need it. I know what it is. You explained it last year. You explained it very well with the whole like the guy's got the kid hostage, right? The synth has the kid hostage, and I'm going to go up there and I'm going to negotiate this, and it could go one of 8 different ways, and it's like, yeah, all right. I didn't need to explain to me again.
Yeah. Well, it's like I also think it's interesting because in the if you actually look at like the games, like you've had like the first game, Indigo Prophecy, Fahrenheit, whatever it was called.
Right.
You were playing
both.
Yeah. But it was one of those games where you played the guy who was framed for the murder and the cops hunting him down.
Sure.
But neither of you were the bad guy, like kind of thing. And then in Heavy Rain, you're playing 4 characters, and then it turns out one of the characters is the bad guy.
God, spoiler alert for Heavy Rain, John. God.
Well, they kind of said that was someone,
It's fine.
And then
like 10 years old.
Beyond Two Souls was a little different in that you're only playing as one character in that game. You're not like switching between multiple characters.
Yeah.
This one, they've said that this guy that's introduced in this trailer, and then the robot from the android from the previous trailer last year.
Yeah.
Those are your 2 characters.
Yeah.
And it's one is a cop trying to like these are the laws and these are the thing we're gonna, and one is trying to start a robot revolution.
Yeah.
So you're essentially playing the good guy and the bad guy.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's going to be kind of interesting to see how that is handled, especially with I also find it's funny that like David Cage in an interview was like, this is not political, I'm not trying to make any political statements with this game, and like their interviewer was like, are you fucking kidding me with that bullshit? Have you not seen what the political well, if people want to read into that, they can, but I'm just talking about androids trying to get rights for themselves.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not trying to make a political statement.
David, come on. I don't know. David Cage is an interesting developer.
Yeah.
I thought Beyond Two Souls was a fucking mess. I thought that Heavy Rain was a very interesting mess. And I thought that Indigo Prophecy was a fucking nutty mess. So
yeah. David Cage I have a love-hate relationship with his games. Yeah. Like, I love Indigo Prophecy. I love Heavy Rain. I like Beyond Two Souls. I don't hate it. I like it.
It's a mess.
But every one of those games have moments in them that I'm just like, what? No. That is stupid. Whoever wrote this or whoever did this doesn't fucking know their ass from a hole in the ground, because this breaks every law of writing, of just reality, of just stupidity.
Yeah.
So every one of his games has elements where I'm just like, nope, you lost me, but I'll continue to play your stupid fucking game, but you've lost me.
Right.
But at the same time, I really enjoy the games. Like, once I'm finished with them, I'm like, you know what, I really liked that, or I liked that. It was all right. It wasn't bad. So I don't know. Like, he's definitely one of those people that I would like to see someone else come up with a script and like write it, and then him take that and direct it into a game. But he's very much one of those guys that I feel like is like, I want to make movies, but I can't be that good of a movie maker, so I'm going to make games instead because I get less flack for doing that.
I think you should come up with an idea and then let somebody else write it, let somebody else make it, because I was listening to somebody talk about how this game has that same Heavy Rain bullshit, hold down L2, then R1, then square, right, to do a thing. And that it's unfortunate that between Beyond Two Souls and now, Telltale has kind of eaten David Cage's lunch.
Until Dawn fucking ate David Cage's lunch, because Until Dawn was the same type of game, but did it infinitely better.
But good.
And written infinitely better.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it's interesting visuals, but on the other hand, this demo went on for a long time, and I wish something else was here. I wish I could have seen something else besides this. Not that it looks like terrible, but
like, I want to play it. It's weird. Like, I want to play it, but I know I'm going to have problems with the game when it comes out. Like, I have a very strong love-hate relationship with Quantic Dream.
Yeah. Next, we had a very brief Destiny story trailer. I'm not going to talk about that because we're already running over time, and it was just a Cabal.
It was kind of the same stuff we'd already seen.
The thing I thought was interesting is, I don't know if people Destiny can tell me. I don't know if I've ever seen a Cabal with the helmet off before. So
okay.
That was kind of interesting, but it was a well put together trailer. Bungie knows how to put together.
Yeah.
Trailer. All right, and last but not least, certainly not least, we had our showstopper, and that was Spider-Man. Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. announced last year. It's being made by Sucker Punch, the people who made
Infamous.
Mm-hmm.
Which they're a good team to have on that.
Yep, Infamous. I went back and played. Apparently, they did some PS4 Pro enhancements for Infamous Second Son, and I went back and played some of that. Infamous Second Son's a solid game. You know, you run around.
You just hated the protagonist.
I just have a real love-hate relationship with Delson Rowe. That's all. So yeah, in this trailer, Spider-Man's taking out a bunch of guys at a construction site. This first part is very Batman, very Arkham Asylum, where you're swinging around over people. Spider-Man apparently has gadgets in this one. We see a little thing that webs a guy up. There's a lot of like interaction with environment that you see in both this part and in the combat sequence that we're going to see in just a second. The combat sequences also look very Arkham Asylum.
Yeah. And, I will say that, they came out and said, like, a few things I thought were interesting, like, afterwards.
Yeah.
Like, they said that it's not just going to be, like, sneaking around stealthy stuff throughout the whole game. Like, they have a wide range of different things. Like, there are going to be areas where you're fighting. There are going to be areas where you're, not sneaking. And it's areas where you are sneaking and areas where you're going to have to do things, but it's more of a protecting innocence kind of thing.
Right.
Also, they mentioned that they, for the fighting, like Spider-Man, because they didn't want situations where it looked like Spider-Man killed.
Yeah.
So they've actually put in like animation so that if like you're fighting and it looks like you're going to throw off a character off a building, like the character does extra animations to to keep them webbed up so that they're not so that they're not like falling off the building to their death.
It seems to me like there's quite a bit of QuickTime event stuff going on in this trailer.
And they actually said there was more QuickTime events in this trailer than the game will actually have. Like,
that's good.
That's not indicative of the actual game, though there will be some.
Okay.
But they're like, that's not indicative. The section we showed clearly had a bunch of QuickTime events, but that was
there's a real question, especially when you get out of that opening segment when he's kind of zipping around the universe, especially here towards the end. There's a sequence where a helicopter is going through the city and busting stuff up, and he's trying to catch up with it. And the question of, okay, well, how much of this is scripted, and like, can I stop the helicopter from busting stuff up, or can I get to it faster? Because that stuff is exciting, but you need to have a very good mix, right?
Yeah.
If it's too QTE, then you're just playing Detroit Become Human, and if it's too just open ended, then you're playing Infamous, basically. But I like what I'm seeing so far. It looks real nice.
Yeah, it looks really good.
It looks like it plays very well.
I even like the fact they're tackling a villain who is fairly new in the comics and hasn't really been explored in video games.
Yeah.
With Mr. Negative. So I think that they're doing all the right things. And then at the very end, they had a nice little teaser thing that don't know exactly what it means for the game.
For Miles Morales.
Yeah, they showed Miles Morales, but like he's not like Ultimate Spider-Man. He's just a bystander in the crowd.
Yeah.
And like when asked about it, they're like, well, no, you're not going to get to play the game as Miles Morales. He's the focus of this game is Peter Parker. We just did that to kind of show that this is not the standard Marvel universe. This is the different type of universe where both Miles Morales and Peter Parker exist at the same time.
Okay.
But Miles doesn't have his powers yet, kind of thing.
Okay. Again, I'll be interested to see how like a sequence like this plays out in the full game, because like there's a whole part, when he catches the generator that's attached to the helicopter, where he falls like into a building and then he's running up towards the edge of that building, and it's kind of like, does that always happen no matter where you are? Is that just like
that's probably actually I wouldn't be surprised if when you catch it, like regardless of when you catch up to it, that's
that sequence then happens
because it cuts. It's a weird cut, like when he's going to, like right as he's getting close to it, then cuts to a cinematic thing where he falls through the building. So I think that whenever you catch, like there's stuff that like you can get to it before certain stuff happens,
right?
But once you actually get to it, that it triggers that event.
Okay.
So,
well, I'm
excited. I want to play this game.
I'm not.
It looks good.
Spider-Man fan. I'm not like a Spider-Man super fan like Jason or other people that I know, but
I love me some Spider-Man video games.
I like Sucker Punch.
Sucker Punch, yeah.
I like Sucker Punch. I feel like they've done last two Infamous game, or the Infamous Second Son and then Infamous.
I feel like all the Infamous games.
The second one I felt was had a little bit of difficulty, but not a huge amount of difficulty, but a little bit of difficulty. But yeah, this looks real fun. This looks real fun. I will definitely play this when it comes out. And I'm excited for this. Jason Murphy will fucking flip his shit. I just want a Spider-Man game where I can web around the city. Yeah. And that has really good web physics. Apparently, there's never going to be a time where your web isn't actually connected to something.
Yeah.
That was another thing.
Which I think the last Spider-Man game had that problem. The last Spider-Man that had like a hub world.
The Amazing Spider-Man 2 movie tie-in.
Yeah, I think if I'm not mistaken, I think there were times where you could be webbing in areas that didn't have buildings nearby.
It was just up in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also like the fact that at the end, Peter Parker drops into this office building, and it's a good thing it's Saturday because there's actually no other human person in this office building. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm more than happy to play this game.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. Like this was, there's a reason this was the showstopper.
Yeah,
looks good.
And that's it. That was Sony. Nothing, like as we said before, outside of some of the VR content and Monster Hunter, very little that we didn't already know about. I mean, Shadow of the Colossus, but nothing like Death Stranding, God of War, nothing like some of their big drop years or whatnot. Not bad, as you said at the beginning of this.
Yeah,
podcast.
There's a lot of really good stuff. There's a lot of stuff to be excited about, but I feel like it was just kind of, it was just nothing, no mic drop moment.
Exactly. And with that, we're going to wrap it up. We will see you back here tomorrow for Nintendo and other trailers. This has been our part 3, day 3, the third, Jeffington the third of E3 2017. Thanks everybody for listening. We'll see you tomorrow.
Later.
You lie to my face. Cards on the table. I need your help. And if you want the tusk, you need mine.
Guess the limpet can't change her spots.
You know nothing about me.
I'm a casualty of war.
Don't!